This meeting is now being recorded. Thank you everyone for being here this evening. My name is Stacy Reve, the City of Beaverton, Capital Project Public Involvement. And this evening we are bringing to you the Southwest 155th Terrace Neighborhood Traffic Calming Meeting number 3. So thank you again, everyone, for being here this evening. We do have two presenters. We have Tony Chow, who's our transportation project engineer. And then we also have Jabra Cashos here this evening, who's a city transportation engineer for the city of Beaverton. So the first thing that we'll do is go through a PowerPoint presentation. During that presentation, we may have some polling questions, which means that you can vote. This voting actually has nothing to do with the percentage needed to actually implement the traffic calming. So I just want to be clear about that. This is more about, do you like this or do you like that? And Tony and Jabra can also explain that as time goes on. So please let us know if you have a question, and we will answer the questions at the end of the PowerPoint or while we're kind of in the middle of that polling. So again, thank you so much for being here, and I will go ahead and turn it over to Tony.
Welcome everybody. So I'll cover the PowerPoint and the two traffic calming options for this meeting. And then after covering the PowerPoint and answering your question, Jabra will talk about the next steps, the participant survey, support survey, and what's the next step of this process. So let's begin. So as you can see, this is the Google area of the project area. It's 155th Terrace from Snowy Owl to Shoals Ferry Road. So here's the PowerPoint which we will begin with. So as you can see, this is the project area map, which you should be really familiar with at this time. Everybody in the black shaded area with the house number is currently in the voting area. And it's everybody touching 155th Terrace and everybody 250 feet on the side streets. So everybody, once again, in the black shaded area with a house number, you're currently in the voting area. So now let's go to the first traffic calming option. This is a primarily speed cushion option. As you can see, there's 3 speed cushion, 1 at each block. So the first speed cushion from north to south, after you pass the existing stop sign at Snowy Owl, you turn right. You see a speed hump sign, which looks like this. And then the first speed cushion is between 155th, it's on 155th Terrace between Snowy Owl Lane and Fresh Lane. It's near 15551 Southwest Fresh Lane. The second speed cushion, which is between Fresh and Wren, is near 15557 Southwest Wren Lane. And it's about 300 feet from the first speed cushion. The third speed cushion is between Wren Lane and Shoals Ferry Road at the detention pond. It's about 300 feet from the previous speed cushion, and it's about 210 feet to Shoals Ferry Road. And there's an existing stop sign that you existing stop sign and a proposed center line as part of the traffic calming project. So this is option 1. Mr. Kasha, do you have anything specifically to add about this option?
I just want to mention that the spacing is good on this plan. I mentioned last time, yeah, we like the spacing to be between 300 and 350 feet, which is the most effective spacing without frustrating the drivers. So it seems this plan is laid out pretty well. And the center line at Shoals Ferry, we added this because there was some concerns about people turning too fast and sometimes encroaching on the other side of the street. So this center line will slow down drivers as they turn and also keep them on their designated lane. And yeah, these are the only comments I have about this plan.
So once again, a speed cushion, if you're not familiar with what it looks like, this is what it looks like in real life. There's 4 cushions, and an emergency vehicle can climb the middle 2 cushions and pass through with no interference. So this is option A. So now we'll go to option B, which is a hybrid option. So as you can see in this option, there's a speed cushion, then there's 2 median, and with the median, it comes with no parking. So there'll be a 140 feet of parking restriction at each median. So from north to south, starting at Snowy Owl, it's really similar to the previous option. You see a speed cushion 100 feet away from the proposed sign, which looks like, once again, looks like the proposed sign looks like this one. And then once you pass about 300 feet, there'll be a median. But coming from south to north, you also see a speed hump sign, as this is the only block with speed cushions. So once again, between Thrush and Rin, there's a traffic median, and this is what it looks like roughly: 50 foot of median, 4 foot wide, 14 foot traveling on both sides, and 140 feet. 130 feet that will be restricted parking. So no one can park between the tip of the taper to this other tip of the taper. So this is the first median, once again, 300 feet away from the speed cushion. Then there'll be one more speed cushion, one more traffic median, 350 feet away. And then once again, there'll be 130 feet of restricted parking. And then once you at the end of the restricted parking area, there's 50 feet of center line to Shoals Ferry will occur, and that's where you can turn onto Shoals Ferry. And it's about 160 feet away from the center line of the median to Shoals Ferry. Okay. And then so this is what a speed cushion looks like, and this is what a traffic median looks like. So it look really similar to this one, with bush and landscaping in the middle of the median. And then it's similar to this one because you also have a stop sign and a stop bar onto Shoals Ferry Road. All right. Mr. Carshow, do you have anything to add about this option? Option B?
Yeah, I want to comment about the plantings in the median. The city will use drought-resistant plants, so we'll be limited to what kind of shrubs we have in. We might be able to add a tree depending on the width of the island. So if the city planted the way the city wants to, then it will be maintained by the city. If the neighborhood want to plant it certain way or choose different plants or materials, then it will be the responsibility of the homeowners association basically to take care of the plants and also pay the water bill, because then it will require a water meter and irrigation system. So that option is available. If the neighborhood want to go that route, let us know, and we can entertain that idea. But at this time, I think it makes sense just to plant some shrubs like where we do in other places, and the city will take care of it.
I think we have a question about putting a speed cushion between Thrush and Rin next to the median. Unfortunately, the block is about 250 to 300 feet long, so we would not be able to fit one more speed cushion between there. Otherwise, the spacing between the two traffic calming devices will be less than 100 feet. It would probably be closer to 50 feet, which will be too short of a distance to put a speed cushion and a traffic median. Okay. All right. So I'll stop sharing my screen at this time. And then now we open up to question, Q&A, and any feedback you have.
And any questions or comments that anyone has, again, you can put that in the Q&A at the very bottom of your screen. It's on a ribbon, and then also same thing in the chat feature, so you could write your questions or your comments there. And all questions are good questions. So. Okay. So here we are. Let's see. Are the medians wide enough that it will force vehicles to slow while going around?
It's a 4-foot median where traffic will be having to go around, but there's still 14 foot of travel lane where like a wider vehicle, like a fire truck, can still pass by. But any vehicles will have to go around the taper and the median, slowing them down when they pass through the traffic median.
Good question.
Yeah, the 14 feet typically next to the median it will allow for a vehicle to pass by and the bicycle at the same time. That's why we like to maintain that 14 feet on each side.
Are there speed limit signs on 155th Terrace?
Yes, there is. There's one coming in from Shoals, and there's one near Snowy Owl when you make the turn.
Are three-way stops an option at the intersections?
A freeway stop, we look at a stop warrant for Thrush and Rin, and then when we did a volume count, it's really low on both of the side streets, around 250 cars daily. Whereas if you look at data from, I'll share my screen briefly. So if you look at the data of Rin, it's about 171 cars on a Tuesday coming west. And if you look at going east, the same thing, it's about 158 cars. So if you look at Thrush coming in, once again, it's about 176 vehicles. And then 160 vehicles. It's pretty consistent on both of the side streets. And if you go to the main line, the vehicles around 400 to 500 cars daily in each direction. And the same thing at the other location, which is closer to Shoals Ferry, around 700 vehicles. As long as there's no good sight distance or accident issue, it doesn't really warrant stop signs, in our opinion.
Yeah, I want to mention something about stop signs. Stop signs are not intended to slow down traffic. Stop signs are intended to assign the right of way where there is side distance issues or the amount of traffic on all legs is kind of equal and high, where they have to take turns to enter the intersection because there will not be enough gaps in traffic. So for those reasons, we don't recommend or use always stop or stop sign as traffic calming devices, because then drivers will tend to run the stop signs because the side street will have low volume. They'll be going through, and at one time they say, no one is there, why should I stop? And it happens. And only take one time where somebody will ignore the stop sign and somebody will be turning after they stop, and you'll end up with a crash, a severe crash potentially. So for those reasons, we don't use stop signs as traffic calming devices. We rely on other devices, speed humps, cushions, curb extensions. We also use speed display signs.
So
I want to go ahead and address this one question first here about the data, and then we'll go to the one before it. Thank you for the explanation. Is there an inherent assumption that the data is likely lower than normal due to COVID?
Actually, we feel that it may be opposite. with COVID happening, less people are taking public transit to go around to like do shopping, to work, or for pleasure. So we feel that there may be actually be even more cars that will be traveling driving around to get to the destination. I mean, we noticed that there may be virtual school going on, so that may be a reduction in traffic count. But otherwise, we feel that the count is pretty close to normal because of the people like more people not taking public transit these days.
Okay, great. Next question. Can the speed limit signs be moved further away from Shoals, further down 155th towards Thrush? It is right after you turn and most do not see it. I have talked with several neighbors who didn't even know it was there.
We could adjust the speed limit signs location, but it has to be, you know, after you turn from Shoals Ferry. I mean, we could push it a little bit to the north just to make it more visible, but that's all what we can do. So it will be within that first block from Shoals Ferry Road, because that's where the speed changes on Shoals Ferry 45, people turning so they'll be able to see it. So the sign needs to be close to the intersection to identify that the speed has changed. Also, if it's pushed too far in and somebody speeds within the Shoals Ferry, and you know, let's say the sign is away from Shoals Ferry, and let's say somebody gets a ticket because they were speeding, then the ticket will not hold because they say, hey, you didn't tell me the speed change here, I'm driving 45. So that's why we have to keep these things in mind. But we will move it to make it more clear and visible to drivers as they turn. Yeah, we'll do that. And this is not part of, and this is not part of the traffic calming plan. We'll do it just because you asked.
Okay.
Thank you. Another question, does the city ever put up slow children at play signs?
No, those we don't use at all. Majority of the cities in the United States, they don't use them. The reason why, it gives you a false feel of security. You know, sometimes parents say, hey, there is sign saying slow down for children, my kids are okay on the street, and it's not the case. So for those reasons, they're not effective too. When you see people, sometimes they use this reflective, they used to buy them from Toys R Us. Toys R Us not here anymore. That school boy with the flag they put on the side of the street. People think, hey, I have this and the kids should be fine, you know, playing in the street, and it's not the case. Even sometimes drivers, they see them and they get frustrated. I've heard drivers hit them too to knock them off. So yeah, children at play signs are just a feel-good sign more than anything else, a false feel of security.
All right, so I'll stop sharing my screen at this moment. Okay, do we have any more questions or any feedback, Stacy?
We don't have any more in the Q&A or in the chat. Does anybody have any other questions or comments that they would like to make at this time regarding the information that we have presented? And then Tony, just let me know if you want to do any of the polling questions.
So we'll give them maybe the other half a minute to a minute to see if there's any more questions. If there's no more questions, then we'll do a first polling question.
Great. I think moving a speed limit sign back is a great idea and will help. Thank you. And one other thing, just ensuring that there's enough space to turn off of Shoals Ferry until the median.
There's about 160 foot, which should be plenty of distance for even a fire truck or a UPS truck to make the turn coming in from Shoals Ferry from each direction. And the center line will also help guide vehicles into the proper travel lane.
I realize we're supposed to vote, but which do you believe will help with slowing vehicles down more?
Speed cushions are usually really effective for slowing down vehicles because it's something that's physical, but traffic medians also does help. And I think a lot of the residents mentioned they want parking restriction on 155th Terrace. So we took that into consideration for traffic calming option B. So medians is not as effective as speed cushion, but you will restrict parking, and which is something that you guys have provided feedback beforehand in previous meetings.
Another person just made a comment to say thank you, and the road comes at an acute angle, so that's a tough turn already. Appreciate you planning for that. And then just thank you again. And okay. Okay, and you can continue to ask questions in the chat or the Q&A if we're ready for the polling questions, Tony. I can pull one of them up.
Yes, let's pull this polling question about which option they prefer.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and launch the polling. So that means everyone that's attending right now, go ahead and vote for either option A or option B. And I'll leave it open for a couple of minutes. Can you see the polling question, Tony?
I can.
Okay.
The first option is just the free speed cushion option. The second option is the speed cushion and 2 traffic median option. And then please, once again, on the traffic median option, there'll be 130 foot of restriction of parking restriction for the traffic median. So it's just FYI.
We also have one person that put in the Q&A option B.
Okay.
So it looks like maybe they're not able to use the voting buttons. So we'll wait just about 30 more seconds here. Looks like most people, if everyone has voted. Okay. In polling. So are you able to see the results?
Oh, wow, it's really overwhelming. Like everybody 6-0, option B versus option A. So it looks
And
like
actually it's seven people because one person put it in the chat instead of the voting.
okay. So pretty much everybody wants to move forward option B, which is great news. So we'll move forward option B. And then before we have another polling question about the device placement. Let's pull up that question.
Just a minute. Stacy, we have 6 attendees. So they must have voted using the poll question and then they wrote it in the chat.
Okay, okay. Okay, great.
So let's try the second polling question about the device placement and concerns.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to launch the polling now. Go ahead, Tony. Can you see it?
Yes, I can. So please provide your feedback about the device selected and their placement. So there's 3 options.
Okay, we'll wait just a few more seconds here and then I can end the polling. Usually like to wait around a minute just in case there are folks that need a couple minutes to decide here. You're all doing very well, A+. Oh, got another person. With option B, will there be parking on 155th Terrace south of Wren Lane and north of the median?
Yes, there will be about 100 foot of parking.
If parking will be allowed there, any safety concerns of cars driving by while cars are also parked on the side of the road?
If there's no median, there's no taper, about 100 foot will be 100 foot where you can still park, and there'll be 8 foot for the parking aisle and 2 travel lane, which is roughly the road is 32 feet wide, so there'll be two 12-foot travel lane. So there should still be plenty of space for parking.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the polling and share the results. Can you see the results?
I can. So it looks like the majority is happy with the placement and the traffic calming device selected, which is great news. It's 4-2. Stacy, do you have any more questions or comments or anything before Java talks about the next step, support survey, and 67% support to approve the traffic calming plans?
It doesn't look like we have any questions in the Q&A or the chat. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they'd like to make? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing these results. Again, you can continue to ask questions in the chat or in the Q&A feature.
Okay. So at this time, Mr. Kasha will talk about the next steps, the support survey, when you receive the support survey, and also the 67% support you will need. And he'll also explain the free options you will have on this support survey card.
Yeah, before I get into the support survey, the two people that answered the second one, they have reservation about the placement and the impacts. Is it possible to write in the Q&A or in the chat, what are your concerns?
I don't see anything popping up. Or would somebody like to speak instead of write or type it in? Oh, I have somebody raised a hand. Cool. Okay, I am pressing the button that allows you to talk. Ready? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Williams. I was one of the people who said that I just had reservations. I still approve it. I just, I think my concern is the 14 feet on either side. And again, I'm not a city engineer, so you guys know this stuff better than I do. But my concern would be, my thought process would be that 14 feet on either side, once vehicles, especially those who live in the neighborhoods, become comfortable with the distance, will continue to speed through because there are no speed humps until you get past Thrush. So that was my only real concern. I have 3 children. I live at the end of Thrush Lane, and they play in the street. They don't play in the street, but they play on the sidewalk and whatnot. Balls get rolled and they throw. So that's just my concern. I just wonder, you know, I get that you can't really make them smaller because of emergency vehicles. But just like I have a large vehicle and a small garage, and at first it made me nervous to park in it when we first moved here, and now I'm a champ at it and I can go in and out with ease. And so that's what I think I get nervous about.
Thank you. That does really help too, especially like it really does help, Stephanie, that you're able to kind of explain what your concerns are. That way we can address them. So yeah, great question.
So Mr. Kasha, with the 32 feet of roadway width on 155th Terrace, could we possibly expand the median?
You mean?
To make it wider, the median wider and the travel lanes narrower?
No, I was gonna ask you, you have the traffic volume.
Yes.
So each direction was 750 vehicles per day?
Let me double check that number.
Or half of this?
I'll share this at this time, the traffic count again on, so if you look at
So 600.
155th Terrace south of Thrush, there's about on an average Tuesday, 377 going south. And then on an average Tuesday, going north, south of Thrush, there's about 400 cars going north. And if you look at the other location near Shoals Ferry, on an average Tuesday, there's about 614 cars going northbound, and about 533 vehicles going southbound on an average Tuesday.
Yeah, so because of the low traffic volume on the street, we may be able to narrow the lanes to 12 feet, because when you have 600 vehicles per day, it means during the peak hour, you have 10% of this. So you'll have like a vehicle every minute, basically. And this will have a lot of gaps for a bicycle. If somebody is on a bicycle and going through it, they have lots of long gaps to make it through. So we could make the lanes 12 feet. 12 feet typically is the widest lane on a highway. That's how wide they are. So yeah, we will adjust the median width. Instead of 4 feet, we'll make it 8 feet. This will also allow to plant some trees. And also when you have trees and shrubs, you know, it will help slowing traffic down, because it creates this tunnel vision, and also the driver will feel like the street is choked down when they see all these vertical trees next to them. So we will do this. We'll make the islands wider than what proposed on the plan. We'll tweak the plan, but the location will be the same. They'll just be wider.
All right.
And thank you. I want to thank you for bringing this concern and express your concerns to us. That's the reason for these meetings. Is we'll try to tweak the plan, try to please everyone, you know, and if they have concerns, at least address these concerns. So if you would like to criticize, change, just bring it up now. It's easier to deal with it now than dealing with it later.
We've got one person that's asking, we have two other questions, but one, just to clarify, did you mean changing the median from 14 feet to 12 feet or from 14 feet to 8 feet?
No, it's from.
Oh, sorry,
the
changing
median,
the lane.
No, the lane from 14
The lane,
to 12.
I'm sorry. Yes.
So as Jabbar mentioned, there'll be 12 foot of travel lane here, 8 foot median. This will become 8, and then this will become the other 12.
Okay, I think that, hopefully, did that help, Julie? Thank you. Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so another question. I was concerned about people parking close to medians with my question earlier. Feels like people may be weaving between parked cars and medians.
So as you can see, the median, you restrict parking at the median, but 40 foot on both sides, you also restrict parking. So pretty much when you see a taper, you will also see a no parking sign indicating where you cannot park. And if anybody park in this area is liable to be in tow away, or being, they might also get a ticket if they park in this restricted area.
Okay, good. I saw traffic counting devices on Thrush Lane recently. Are you considering doing a separate traffic calming plan for Thrush in the future?
They will need to submit the traffic calming request to Mr. Kasho, and then we can also take a look at those data and then go through the warrant process for that. So if you have any questions or you like to submit, just email Mr. Kasho to begin the process.
Yeah, the traffic count they were doing recently was to evaluate the always stop to see how much traffic are at the intersection. No, it was not for traffic calming or to add Thrush Lane. If you would like to have traffic calming on your street, you could either send me an email. Also, you could go online and you could fill a request online. There is an application, a form that you fill out, and this will start the process if you want to do something on Thrush Lane. Okay. So
Okay.
now,
I think we have a few more questions.
A couple more questions here. Can 155th Terrace be like Blackbird Drive, where there is no parking but a bike lane instead?
Uh,
Oh, Mr. Kasha, you're on mute.
the functional classification of 155th Terrace is a local street. And on local streets, we do not mark bike lanes. We only mark them on collectors and on arterials. The reason why the low volume of traffic, and they can use basically the travel lane for a bicycle. Also, you put them in, it has to be continuous. That will take you somewhere. I mean, here almost it takes you to Snowy Owl, and it's a dead end street. So the benefit for a bike lane and maintaining a bike lane, it just, there is no use, you know, for it. It's worth the maintenance for it.
Okay, one more question here. Can we have a vote on the reduction of the lane width before we make that final decision?
Yeah, we can do a chat option, like a polling question on the chat. Do we have any more questions before we try that polling? Any more comments or questions before we try to do that poll?
I think we did all the polling questions. We only have 2.
Do we have any more like general chat comments before we try that poll?
We don't have any more questions, but I don't have any more polling questions either.
So like in the chat box, so let's try the 2 polling question. So if you want 8-foot median and 12-foot travel lane, press the letter A into the chat box. If you want 14-foot travel lanes and 4-foot median, press B and select and then put it in the chat box. So once again, if you want the 12-foot travel lanes and 8-foot median, that'll be letter A. 14-foot travel lanes and 4-foot median, option B.
Okay, it looks like there's 6 people that are on the call, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need 2 more people to put if they want A or B.
Yeah, once again, A is the one with the 12-foot travel lane and 8-foot median. B is the one with the 14-foot travel lanes and 4-foot median. So it looks like that might be everybody that will provide input. So it looks like the majority wants A, 3-to-1, A versus B. So we'll go with the 12-foot median and 8-foot median, 12-foot travel lane and 8-foot median per option A. All right, so I'll stop sharing at this time.
Oh, there was one more person that chose for that wanted option B. So the person that's using the Q&A function, go ahead and use the chat feature. It's at the bottom of the ribbon. So you should see Q&A, and then you should see a little thing that says chat. So in the chat box, you'll want to put B, please.
Okay. So even with option A versus B, that we actually wanted to vote for the 12-foot median. Okay, so then that's option A. So it looks like there'll be 4 A's and 1 B. All right.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments at this time? Doesn't look like it.
So if there's nothing, Jabba will talk about the next step, the support survey, the petition, the support survey card that you will get, and he'll also explain the time frame for when you receive the cards.
Yeah, before we do the support survey, I think we're going to do an open house. The reason why is we only have tonight, we have 6 participants with this meeting. I know if people don't show up, you will decide for them. But let's have an open house to show the plan. So at least people who live in the project area can take a look at the plan and comment on the plan. If we hear negative comments about it and people concerned about what's on the street, we might come back to the drawing board and have additional meetings to solve these issues. But those people who commented needs to participate, to figure out, what exactly they want. The reason I'm advocating for the open house, it makes it later on easier to get that approval rate. Because if people are not happy with the plan, they either vote no or don't send their card or whatever they want to do. So we will have an open house within a few weeks. And the open house will show the selected plan. But we will also show the option A, which was just speed questions. We said, yeah, okay, we looked at these 2 plans and plan B was picked. But on that plan, we will show the narrower lanes than the 14. So it will be the updated plan B. After the open house, and let's say everything goes well, what the city will do is we will poll the plan. I don't like to call it vote. We call it poll or response. We'll send a response card for the plan, not even a voting card. And what we do, we send a packet that has a copy of the plan, a cover letter explaining the process, a yellow card that has 3 options on it. It has yes, no, and abstain. So a person could abstain. Also, the packet will have a pre-stamped return envelope. So all what you do when you get the card, you agree with the plan, check the box, sign the card, put it in that return envelope and drop it in the mail. The way we calculate the rate or the approval rate, the plan needs to receive 67% approval rate. And this 67 is the majority of what goes out, the number of cars that goes out. So for example, let's say we sent out 100 cards. We need to receive 67 cards back with a yes. Cards that are not sent back, it's an automatic no. The card checked no, of course it's a no. And if somebody checked abstain, then that number will be taken out of the total. And the percentage will be based on 99 cards instead of 100. So that's why it's important when you get these packets, please sign it, pick what you want, yes, no, or abstain, and drop it in the mail. Recently, we had issues with neighborhoods that, we went through the whole process. We got to this point, open house, and we sent the cards out, and we did not get many back. We tried, we sent the cards twice again, and they never made that 50%. So that's why I keep saying, any tweaking to the plan, anything you're not happy with, you'd like to fix it, so we'll get that approval rate. This 67% is based on the current program. The Traffic Commission currently are working on revising the percentage. They're looking at dropping the rate a little bit. We don't have a set percentage yet or methodology what we're gonna do yet. We had workshops with the Traffic Commission, and on July 1st, we will have the third workshops to decide which way we're gonna go. So if the percentage, let's say the Traffic Commission decide to lower the percentage, then we will use the new process. We will not stick to the old process. But that's how it works. In the past, prior to the pandemic, we'll send the packets out, and typically we wait 2 weeks. We used to wait 2 weeks and see how many cars we get back. If they were coming back too quick, it was okay. When we didn't get the cards back, we always contacted the requester, or the neighborhood will form a group, and we could give them the addresses that did not send their card back. So they went out canvassing the neighborhood, knocking at doors, hey, send your card back. People will sometimes say, hey, I misplaced it, or I recycled it, or I did not get one. They let us know, and we'll mail another packet for them. I mean, we work with the neighborhood to the last minute. We give 3 weeks for the cars to come back, but we'll work with you to the last day. I mean, the last hour. We hand delivered cards for people just to make sure they get the percentage required. At this time, it's really hard to do. Yeah, with the pandemics, people don't want people to knock at their doors and, asking them to send their cards or even talk to you sometimes. So what we do, after we send the cards, and if we see, they're not coming back too quick, we'll send another packet. We'll try, we'll give it another try to see how many we get back. If you have a newsletter in your HOA, that's a good resource that you could use. Say, hey, I could give you the date when they get mailed out, so you'll get ready before that. Tell them, at least have it in the newsletter, please send your cards back for the traffic calming program. So that's how the process works. Any questions on the process or about anything? Please do ask if you have any.
So looks like there's a question about the project area development. Yeah. I'll share that at this time.
Great. I was speaking, but I was muted. Sorry.
So okay. So I'll show you the project area again. Once again, it's everyone in this shaded black area. It's everybody touching 155th Terrace and 250 foot on the side street. And there's currently 27 homes in the project area, which means you will need 18 yeses to get the plans approved at this time.
Can you explain the open house more and what that is?
The open house is just to show the plan that was selected and to get feedback from people who attend the open house. We used to do it in person, but now we'll do it virtually. So we'll send a notice of the open house. You'll get a notice in the mail, and it will have the link for the open house. You could go in at your leisure anytime, check the plan out, comment on it, like, dislike, or if you don't like it, we'll have an email too that you could send us an email, or there's a phone number that you could call us too if you don't like it. So that's the purpose of the open house, is to get feedback from the people in the neighborhood. Because, I mean, today we had 6 attendees, and that's really very low. So we'd like the public involvement to be a little bit more. And then it will give us a chance to come back and tweak the plan before we go through the polling process. And it will make life easier for everyone. Anyway, after the plan receives, let's say the plan receives 67%, this is not the end of it. The Traffic Commission will hold the hearing on the plan. and anyone from anywhere can come testify for or against the plan. So most of the time, if the plan receives 67%, the traffic commission will approve it. I haven't seen one that was disapproved. I've seen one where the traffic commission modified the location of a speed cushion because the neighbor did not like it closer to his home. After the traffic commission approves it, it goes to the city council for final approval. Basically, it will be on their consent agenda, so they'll just rubber stamp it, and it will go to construction after that. Any questions, any concerns, please bring it up.
Okay. During construction, will 155th be completely shut down?
No, we try not to shut down streets during construction. We'll flag traffic. So we'll have a flagger, we'll have one side that will allow for two-way traffic.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Thank you so much for your work on this. Oops, what happened here? Thank you so much. Oh. Can you show us the voting block again? Thank you so much for your work on this, for the opportunity to weigh in. Much appreciated.
I'll share the voting block one more time.
Thank you.
Once again, everybody in the black shaded area, there's currently 27 homes that's in the voting block. Everyone whose property touched 155th Terrace and 250 foot on the side street between 155th Terrace and 156th Terrace.
Was the person able to see that? Okay. Yes, okay, great. Okay. Doesn't look like there's any other questions or comments in the chat or the Q&A. Jobber, Tony, is there anything else that you'd like to add in case there's a few other questions that roll in?
Yeah, thank you for attending, and I look forward to an open house, a flyer that will tell you how to get access to the open house that will soon arrive at your house. Once again, there'll be flyers that will shortly arrive at your house in the next few weeks that will tell you the link to the open house. The open house will be virtual on the city's website.
Okay. Well, these flyers only go to the 27 homes.
That's correct.
Thank you for your time and helping us make our street better. Okay. Okay. And with that, I think we can go ahead and close the meeting. If Jabra, Tony, you're okay with that? Looks like we don't have any more questions or comments.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone who attended the meeting tonight. I know it's hot out there, and thank you for your patience and being with us. And have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you for attending, and I look forward to hearing your feedback on the support survey and the open house.
Again, thank you everyone for attending the Southwest 155th Terrace Neighborhood Traffic Calming Meeting number 3. And you will receive those flyers. Also, if just for your viewing pleasure, if you'd like to, you can watch this meeting again. If you go to beavertonoregon.gov/traffic calming, you will see Southwest 155th Terrace. And then you'll also see Southwest 155th Avenue. So these meetings are recorded and you are more than welcome to go back and watch them. This one will probably loaded by Friday at the end of the day, maybe Monday. So just watch for that. If you have a neighbor that is also interested in this, please encourage them to participate as well. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to stop recording now.